You know, I've been playing with a lot of knives lately. I like having something on me that's good for things at home, like slicing paper and packaging. That's why I love my Kershaw Bel Air so much. It's really sharp, it's got a pointy Warncliffe blade that works really good on the cutting mat, and if I had to, I could bury it deep into somebody's neck. That's not the knife I'm talking about today. I will eventually. I love that Bel Air, I just haven't come up with the right words yet. The knife I'm talking about today is a $350 pain in the ass. Disclaimer, I have been made aware that this is a very snobbish take and that I am potentially being a little bitch about it. To that I say, wouldn't you prefer my standards to be outrageously high if I'm going to start making knives like this myself? Good tidings, friends. Not so mild-mannered Mad Yako here. Like this video and please subscribe for more tantalizing tangents on EDC equipment. Also, Mad Yako Hanks. The gold standard best option for drying your tears after you waste a whole bunch of money on a knife that you don't like, only to find out after putting a whole bunch of work into it that you actually do like the son of a gun. Now, after a 3-week hiatus, please join me as I regale you with a tale of stupidity, persistence, denial, remorse, and salvation. Richard Rogers is the designer of this knife, the Tactile Maverick, and design-wise, this knife is perfect. But I do have a few things to say about the fit and finish. Let's just say it's a little lacking. Question though, why in God's name aren't companies putting any time or money into doing the basic break-in process for these things? Spend enough money, you'd like something to arrive at your door completely broken in. People, when they're looking at a high dollar knife such as this, $350 retail, I bought it used, I am the second owner as far as I know, for $250. Around Christmas time, you guys know the market is awful right now. It's a buyer's market, so I got a good deal on it. But I was still upset. I was like, why, oh why, isn't this broken in yet? Anyway, it has everything else. It's got 63 to 64 hardness, Magna Cut here. That's like the best Magna Cut on the market. We've got some of the best titanium handles. These are contoured and micro milled. And they're plain titanium, so I'm obviously going to mod them. And we've got the phosphor bronze washers. Now, I don't know if the fact that they are perforated phosphor bronze washers made any difference here, but I will fill you in on what happened. In order to get the fidget factor that it does have, because now I can flip it back and forth with the flick of a wrist, I had to do some polishing with some micron paper. I spent hours using this micron paper to polish every surface inside of this pivot action. So what we've got is the steel liners needed polished, 1, 2. This side of the washer needed polished, 3, 4. Other side of the washers needed polished, 5, 6. And then the blade needed polished, 7, 8. 8 surfaces needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, a progression of micron paper to achieve what I still consider not quite perfect action. It's pretty good though. When I first got it, of course, I polished the washers doing the micron method. Didn't seem to have any effect on it. I would fully tighten it so that it would have that bank vault lockup, and which it has now. And every time I tried to deploy it, it would only come out to like that far, even if I pushed it as hard as I could. And then I would still have to close it by hand. And that just bothered me. That bothered me so much that I got something brand new. It looked like the guy before me hadn't even used it, probably because of the action. And it just had this bad experience. I was like very surprised. But anyway, I understand there's always some kind of breaking in period for washer based knives, and I understand that. Like, I think every time I've bought one before, though, like Benchmade Griptilian, Benchmade Osborne, Ritter Hogue, any Spyderco knife, all I've had to do was polish the washers, and I'd get rock solid, perfect action. It was crazy. This knife just made me do a little bit more work, and this is the knife that I've paid the most money for, period. So you can understand why I'm a little bit upset. So like I said, I toiled away for probably 3 hours over the course of many nights, polishing, greasing, cleaning. And then one night I was actually last night, I just took it apart and went through the process, did it all again, put it back together, and now we've got this action. I took it off a blade bench because I'm going to keep it now. Let's talk about a few things about this. It does have, this is a negative thing, the pocket clip, it's right hand tip up only, so your lefties are going to be screwed here. The blade is uncoated. If you want a coated Tactile Maverick, you're going to be looking for a special edition limited run one, and it's going to cost probably a lot more money. Good luck finding one, honestly. Look, I promise you, I would not be bitching about this if I wasn't so defeated by the entire process of breaking this thing in myself. Now, this is something that I do want to do, so it was lucky that it was me that came across this, but I'm saying for like anybody that doesn't want to take your knife apart, you're going to be breaking this thing in through like normal use over the period of maybe 6 months, and it's just going to take a long time, and it's not going to feel rewarding until then. If you're like me, I'm an instant gratification. I'm an addict. You know, I crave the instant gratification always. Really, though, other than that, this is my favorite knife. Since I've fixed it especially, like, it has settled in right at the very tippy top of my collection now. And I'm going to mod it, and then it's going to be even cooler. You can see why I like it. It's got this phenomenally thin blade stock, kind of a high flat grind blade geometry, ultra slicey, really scary edge on it. That's just from the factory. I might have Mr. Coonley go ahead and put an even better edge on that for me soon. I love Tactile style in general. I have a Chupacabra as well. Wonderful. Wonderful knives. Beautiful. I love all of them. And as far as mods go for this one, I'm planning on actually anodizing a gold tiger stripe camo on it in honor of the new Metal Gear Solid Delta that's coming out this year, and then doing green accents on what's blue on here. Just changing that to green with the old anodizing machine. And then I'm probably going to acid etch the blade so it has exclamation points on it. Another great thing about this knife, though, this knife is made in Dallas, Texas. Yeehaw! Another really awesome thing about this is that the Omega springs within this thing that the crossbar lock operates on, they're strong right now, but they're adjustable. You can loosen them. There's actually 2 holes inside to tighten or loosen the detent feel, kind of like the Kaiser clutch lock. Really is a nice touch, and it adds a really good strong retention. If you're not used to thumb flicking, this probably isn't the first knife for you. Probably start with something easier. Like I said, I had a Chupacabra from Tactile previous to this. I still have it, and I am noticing similar downfalls so far in both Tactile blades that I've gotten. Fit and finish just isn't there, and I'm wondering if me taking it apart or putting it, or somebody else taking it apart or something led to this, because as far as I can tell, Tactile makes really beautiful concepts of knives, you know, like the Mariner looks awesome. I think the other one's a Ranger or something. Just beautiful knives, all of them. But they just fail to operate at the high level that their looks imply out of the box. It's like a hyena dressed in a tuxedo. They're gorgeous, but something is inherently wrong with them. They both struggle with matching expectations to reality. The Chupacabra, at first glance, looks like a beefed up tank of a Vision FG. It's got the super lock on the back, but once you start playing with it, you find that that super lock is kind of wobbly. You get up and down blade play, left and right. Actually, you only get the up and down blade play, but it just is so sloppy that it feels like you're getting it all over the place. The reason for that is, I'm thinking, because you have to put it together just so. Because if a pin is slightly off, and you spine whack that sucker, the Chupacabra will fail. The super lock will fail. Which is crazy to me. The idea of the Chupacabra is fantastic. What a fantastic guy. But the execution is sad and annoying. I love that knife though. The pros outweigh the cons to me completely. I'll eventually rebuild it enough times that eventually I'll do it correctly, and then I will threadlock that son of a gun so that I never have to mess with it again. But I just wish it was like that when I got it. In the case of the more expensive and flashier Tactile Maverick in my hand, if I hadn't fixed that action with that trick that I shared with you, I was going to sell it. I was so disappointed. I did get a pretty good deal on it, so I can't cry. Well, I can cry, and I probably will, just not about that. I'm not going to sell it, though, because after I fiddled with it forever, I fixed the damn action. I think that some people would be fine with the fact that it isn't initially this fidgety. It really is an exceptional knife from a functionality standpoint. I mean, I've heard of even more expensive top-tier knives, like ones from Rockstead, that are the same way. The action is glass smooth, literally because Rocksteads have glass washers, but they're not drop shutty. They're not meant to fidget with. They take a long time to break in, and eventually you will get something like this. But I'm just not into that kind of knife experience. Like I said, instant gratification. I really don't use any knife enough from a knife-to-knife basis to be having something this expensive and not want to play with it all the freaking time out of the box. I spent most of my time sitting around, reading, thinking, writing, flipping my knife. You know, I just wanted to do that over and over again. No fail. I've even thought about maybe just switching the washers that are in here, the perforated washers, because I guess they hold grease better. Just switching them for regular, solid phosphor bronze washers, and I might still do that. We'll see if that improves the action anymore. To that I say, Tactile, if it wasn't broke, why did you fix it? I think the issue here, though, is a lot of these companies, they're shipping these things, and they're like, well, we're only selling it for $350. We don't have time to put an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it might take, of finishing work into every knife. And that makes sense to me. And I'm happy to do it. It's just annoying. After I thought that this knife was all messed up, which it's not now, I watched a bunch of videos to see what everybody else thought. Stupidly and arrogantly, I didn't watch anybody's review videos of this knife before I bought it. And it appears that everybody was saying that the action is slow with it. So it is just going to take some elbow grease for probably everybody that buys this knife. And if you don't want to put that time in, I wouldn't bother with this one specifically. If you do want to mess with it for a long time though, then you can get the action that you want out of it. And then you can fidget it all day, just like me. Just remember, you're going to wind up polishing a lot. Not just the washers, but also everything that comes into contact with the washers. Don't forget to put Slick-A-Mole on it. One upside is that this thing is as quiet as your toddler who's taking a dump behind the couch. It is so silent, and it is a smooth operator. The materials used here are the best of the best, and some would even call this knife heirloom quality. But seriously, I'm thinking even after some pretty heavy use, this would hold up for a really long time. I learned a few lessons through this whole process, and one of them is that sometimes nobody's going to do it for you. 2 is that anything is possible if you just try hard enough. I could already see the difference in gas station knives and premium knives, but I was wondering where the point of diminishing returns was. I'm going to say with some degree of certainty that that point is around $250. Anywhere past that, and you're just paying for scarcity. If the fit and finish doesn't go up from there, I'm confused as to why you'd spend more than that. But with Tactile, fit and finish doesn't appear to go up from there. And that disappoints me a little. I'll still buy expensive knives. I'll buy them from Tactile. But from here on out, I'm going to be a lot more welcoming of all the budget knives that are already in my collection. Because, in my less than professional opinion, there are hundreds of budget knives more pleasing to me than this Tactile Maverick was before I fixed it. If you're willing to take the time to rub it out with varying degrees of micron paper, harder and longer than you gooned last night to animate waifus, this is the only way that you're going to achieve the ultimate Maverick experience, like we have here. I will say, I'm blaming the perforated washer. I don't actually know why it was so stubborn, but what can we all learn from this experience? If you think you found your favorite knife, just try to appreciate that knife for what it is, because sometimes getting a new knife is just getting a new problem. If a knife displeases you, you can always sell it and move on. But just know that at a certain level of tinkering, you can almost always fix any problems you have with any gadget. When knife shopping, make sure you know what you're looking for as far as feel and action, and then watch some videos about the knives you're thinking of buying. I'm gonna level with you. I wish I would have done that. Really would have saved me a little bit of heartache. But here we are, and now you can watch this video to find out that there is an end in sight. So remember, just do your research. And definitely be patient. Some knives just take longer to break in. If you haven't already, please drop a like and subscribe for more bumbling stream of consciousness knife reviews. I make really nice, cozy, soft, and smooth hankies. They're all available at my Etsy shop, listed down below, and wonderful for wiping fingerprints off of knives before you sell them. If you have the time, I'd love to hear about your experience with this very knife, the Tactile Maverick. Rest assured, I still love Tactile, and even though they're kinda 0-2 in my book right now, I can't wait to try a Bear, a Rockwall, a Ranger, or especially a Terzola Mariner. If you want to hear more of my impressions on various knives, here are some more videos for you. Until next time, I'll be here pissing with the next knife until it's perfect. Peace.